Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to 10-Minute Reviews. This is Freya, the crazy one. It's okay, baby. I'm Jason, and we're bringing you today's video. I don't know why she's so snorty right now. As always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We're just a small family channel, just me, puppy, the wife, and a whole bunch of books. And we love to talk about books. We're going to keep doing it no matter what, but we would appreciate any support you guys might want to give us. As always, also look down below for links to today's book. Anything else we may come up with through our Amazon affiliate, please check it out. We need traffic through those links to stay on it. And otherwise, I'm going to get into today's video. So today I want to talk about an author that's been mentioned a time or two, although I don't believe I know we've talked about it briefly on the Discord channel. I don't believe I've reviewed one of his books yet, so this will be first. This one just came out last month. I meant to film this and post this last month, and excuse me, just missed out. So want to make sure I get it in. I want to talk about Larry Correia and his book Tower of Silence, which I believe is book 2 in a little series. I came across it last month, so I went ahead and read it, and like I said, I think it's book 2 in a series, but he does a good job of making sure that you understand what's going on from the previous series. Excuse me, fighting a cold. Or the previous book, rather. And for those of you guys that might be familiar with Larry Correia, you already know how he writes. It's absolutely a phenomenal book. This is an incredible book. Most of you guys might know him from his Monster Hunter International series, but guys, this book is absolutely fantastic. So as always, I'm going to talk about 4 things: the world, characters, plot, the writing style. So the world is a fantasy-esque, fantasy-ish book. It's definitely Middle Ages adjacent type of fantasy, maybe late Renaissance fantasy, because there's a couple parts in it where it kind of they introduce early stage firearms, mostly from one particular kingdom. And that's the other thing. This world, it's broken up into kingdoms. You've got your primary kingdom, and then you've got these small little like island kingdoms and such like that, such as the progenitors of the firearms. And although they call them something different, but they're basically just guns. And we do have magic. We've got demons. They come from the sea. They come from the ocean, and demons are what fuel the magic. So for people that are trained in magic or skilled in magic, in order to actually use the magic, they need pieces of demons, body parts. Bones, primarily. Bones are the best thing for it. And there's a big backstory that starts off in the beginning of kind of the big bad developing up through this series. And we have this devotion to law that is kind of gone, it's sort of taken over the historical devotions to, say, gods and stuff like that. Now we've got law. And law, at least within the primary kingdom, law is what it runs and controls everything. It's basically a religious order in a way, religious/governmental order, and they control everything. And there are strict rules involved in it. Nobility can move up or down based on things that occur within the laws. They have to follow the laws. Now, we've got a bunch of rebels in this, and this is where we're going to get into characters, and I'm really only going to talk about one character. There are actually multiple characters that I would call main characters, but for the most part, to me, the main character of the book is Ashok Vidal, and he is you'd almost call him the primary hero of a noble house, the Vidal house. He is able to wield one of the intact black steel blades that are also magical, very magical, and almost sapient. They're probably definitely sentient. They're almost sapient and extremely powerful. And the beings that are able to wield these swords, and theoretically each house has their familial sword, and their champion that wields it is incredibly powerful. Now, Ashok Vidal is supposed to be the best of them all, but thanks to events from a previous book, he is presumed dead and is considered a criminal. And he is the one that is kind of the driving force behind what's going on within this book, behind the rebellion and your bad guy, which is actually multiple bad guys. You've got your main wizard slash religious leader bad guy, plus you've got your main governmental bad guy, kind of building up to be the king, because you sort of have a division of power, with one obviously holding a little bit more than the other. Very reminiscent of old Europe, where you had your kings or your dukes and your duchesses and emperors and and various rulers of city-states and things like that across Europe. But then you had Holy Rome and the power of the church. And while theoretically these government officials, these rulers, these noble rulers, theoretically were the most powerful beings within their realms, in reality oftentimes the church behind them wielded more power. And that's what we're seeing with this wizard and his abilities and his control over the law keepers that enforce the laws. And then you've got this noble excuse me, you've got this noble that is kind of vying for the emperor type position. And they are working together, excuse me, it's been a very long week. They are working together towards basically ultimate power. They both broken many laws to get there, so they are the big bads. You've got Ashok Vidal, and even though he is not kind of the driver, he's not leading the rebellion, things like that, and a lot of things that are going on are occurring while Vidal is nowhere around, because again, presumed dead. He found himself in prison for over a year and had to escape, and he's extremely weakened, he's hurt, his blade is broken and also embedded within him, pieces of it. But they all talk about how their driving hope is his return, and how he is prophesied to return, and how he might be this and even on this island that he's in prison, he might be this prophesied hero, and he's hitting all these markers for it. So even though he's not actually present in some of the things that are occurring in this book, because he's dealing with his own things throughout the book, he's still kind of a driving force because of the faith that people have in him and the strength that he can have, and especially once he does manage to reconnect with everybody. And I know I've already gotten into the plot line. I don't want to give away spoilers of the book, so I'm not going to go much further within the plot line, although aside from saying that I am very much dying for book 2, or book 3 rather. This was a fantastic book, incredible, and therefore I lead to the writing style. Those of you guys that are familiar with him know Larry Correia writes fantastic. I can't say his characters just say snarky or smartass or anything like that, which is usually my preferred. The book doesn't have me laughing out loud while I'm reading it, which is some books that I've reviewed do, and yet I had trouble putting it down. I could not put it down. The way he writes, the way he builds his world, the way he describes his world, describes the events, the character interactions, how he builds the characters, it's all fascinating. It's all so well done, so interesting. His characters are incredibly interesting. Even the bad guys are interesting, and their interactions, bad is not 100% bad, good is not 100% good. There's levels or situations. One person that seems like they have a really good heart might be related to and defending somebody that we know from reading the book is a very bad guy, but of course they do not know. And it's fascinating. There's a little push-pull going on in there. It's a fantastic book. I cannot recommend it enough. After you guys hit the like and subscribe buttons, if you're a Larry Correia fan, even if you're not, if you're a fantasy fan, you got to check out Tower of Silence by Larry Correia. Thank you everybody for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye now.